Hi guys, welcome to the latest update. We're actually a bit late this week with it being Wednesday, but I've been quite busy, not felt too good the last 2 days, but nevertheless everything's kind of stayed the same, stuck to the diet and training, etc. Now, first thing is I'm going to go through the skip loading devised by Ken Skip Hill, who's my coach. Now this Saturday was my first skip load, 6 hour load, and I did that between 12 and 6 p.m. I have done them before, sort of from research on the internet, etc. And probably been a lot more successful with them than I was this Saturday. This was largely due to the fact that I just didn't have the craving for the carbs that I would normally have because my diet is so high in carbohydrates anyway. The main source of carbohydrates I used this Saturday was white potato, just made low-fat chips with obviously ketchup or curry sauce or sweet chili sauce, and rice with like sweet chili sauce. Didn't really go overboard with the sweet stuff, and I think that's largely due to the fact that I wasn't craving the sugars, I wasn't craving the carbs like I normally would be when I was sort of on a very low carb diet during the week. In terms of calories, I do track them because it's important as you move forward during the weeks to know what foods you've been eating, how you've responded, because that's is very much part of it. We track weight after the skip load when it returns to baseline, which is obviously the weight before the refeed, and then obviously the weight at the end of the week to see how much progression you've made. Now, it's been a strange week so far in terms of weight loss because I had dropped a hell of a lot of weight, 3.2 kilo, which took me from, I was 106.4, my weight only went up to 107.9 following the skip load, which isn't much for me. In the past I've usually gained about £8, so around about 3.5 to 4 kilo. So it wasn't a big gain, so I pretty much knew I would baseline early. Now I did actually baseline yesterday, and my weight's crept a little bit higher today. So the weight yesterday was 104.6, I think. It's 104.8, so I'm taking that as my weight now. I won't weigh myself again now until Saturday, where I'd expect, well, normally we'd expect the weight to be lower than 106.4. It obviously already is. So what that probably means, obviously I'm going off what I know about skip loading, but I will obviously just do what my coach tells me to do. But what it would normally mean is you keep the skip load the same. There's no need to extend the period of time. We do extend, I'm talking rubbish, sorry guys. We will extend the period of time of the skip load because we've lost so much weight. You don't change it if you lose a little bit of weight, and if you obviously don't lose weight, you need to keep it the same. So we'll probably end up extending it. I'm going to go for it a bit more this week. I was very reserved. I didn't stuff myself. No. For anyone that doesn't know what skip loading entails, it's basically a period of time, like I say, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. You can even go higher than that. And in that period of time, your aim is to eat as many carbohydrates as possible, coming mainly from high GI sources. So we can't try and keep the fat low. So as a rule of thumb, I look at packets and the nutritional info and kind of aim for sub 10%. So if it's 10 or lower, then it's okay for me. So we also try and steer clear of dairy. So whereas we can have some ice cream, we don't go overboard with it. We don't really have milk. And we try and keep the liquid calories as low as possible because the whole point of skip loading is you eat until you're full. It's based on hunger. So if you're drinking lots of carbs, drinking lots of calories, you're not going to get full the same that you would be with food. So we try and keep the solid food the main source there. Now, I prefer savoury food on the whole, but obviously it's a lot easier to get sugars in with the sweeter stuff. So I tend to mix it up a bit. I kind of alternate. So I might start my skip load at say 12 p.m. and have a massive bowl of cereal with condensed milk, almond milk you can use to water it down, or you can even use whey and water. And then I'll eat a lot of that. I can eat nearly a box. Then I'm pretty full, and it doesn't matter. You just won't want to eat, very soon after that. But if you eat fewer, then you'll eat sooner. So in the whole grand scheme of things, you'll eat the same amount of food. It's just one you'll be eating more constantly than the other. Now, I've always sort of stuffed myself in the past. Now, that's not really the idea. You eat till you're full, you eat again when you're hungry. Now, when you're eating these high GI carbs, you tend to get hungry quite quickly. I found that when I did it on Saturday, being a lot more reserved, I think I ate about 800 grams of spuds first. And I got hungry quite quickly after that. So it worked quite well. Whereas in the past, I've literally smashed 2,000 or 3,000 calories in within an hour. And then you don't want to eat, you fall asleep. I only managed about 3,000 calories in the whole 6 hours this week, well, last week, which is pitiful, really. It's quite disappointing. So I'd really sort of like to think I can do 1,000 calories, maybe 800 calories per hour, really. So that's what I'll be aiming to do this time. You can quite evidently see by my weight loss, I didn't do enough. Now, in terms of the rest of your diet, it's the same. So you're back onto Sunday. When you've done your skip load Saturday, it's the same as it would be on Sunday anyway, which is a non-training day. Your diet either side of your skip load is the same as it would be. So you don't change anything else apart from that window. So the meals that you would have for breakfast, the next meal, and then obviously your skip load and after. It depends where you put your skip load. I'm going to do it first thing this Saturday. There was a reason for me doing it at 12 o'clock last week, because I knew I had a do to go to at night. So I wanted to finish my skip load just before the do, so I then wouldn't be hungry at night. So that's in a nutshell what it's all about. I will go over skip loading a bit more. Obviously, I'm still in the learning stages of it, because I'm literally just following what the boss man tells me to do. I've learned a bit last year through research and whatnot, but the main reason I chose to work with Ken Hill is because he's the one who invented skip loading, and it worked so well for me last year, sort of through research on the internet and whatnot. I thought I'll work with the man himself. So that's all we're going to go through regarding the skip load today. I'll talk about it more next week after I've done another load. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more than 6 hours. So the diet on the whole hasn't changed at all. So I'm still on 4,000 calories. I'm getting used to it now. I wouldn't say I'm struggling as much. Fortunately, this week I've been able to train later in the morning than normal, so I'm not having to cram all those calories in within sort of an hour period, because I get up, I do my 20 minutes cardio, which by the time I've faffed around getting dressed, getting out, doing it, it's like half an hour. That leaves me with an hour to get my breakfast and my pre-workout meal in, which we're talking 1,400 calories, and it's horrible. I've started blending my oats and blueberries and whey together and drinking them and having them as late as possible, which is helping me. I also have my pre-workout meal, as I mentioned before, as a soup. So again, liquid calories, and it just means I'm not feeling as stuffed and lethargic when I train. That's been a good change. But again, putting my training back by an hour has also helped. It's not always going to be possible for me to do that, but I think it's helping me get used to the diet anyway. Right. I did want to talk to you about my training. Excuse me. I seem to be getting this chest infection that everyone's been struggling with lately. Trying to fight it, but it seems to be getting hold of me. Right, so training. Contrary to what many people think, your training doesn't need to change during prep from the off-season. So I've been following this workout plan now ever since I started the off-season with Skip, which was late November. Now, it works on progression. through the weeks, not just in terms of trying to lift more than you did the previous week, which has always been something I focus on, or get more reps. It's also increasing the volume as well. So it works in a cycle, which we call blasting and cruising. Now, at the moment, I'm doing a 6-week blast and a 1-week cruise. And the way that works is weeks 1 and 2, it's 2 working sets. So we do quite a few warm-ups. I do apologise. We do quite a few warm-ups and then move on to the working sets. Now, 2 working sets is obviously your maximal effort. And I find that with the 2 working sets, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I get a lot out of it. I trained chest on Monday, chest still sore today. I trained back yesterday, and back's in bits. And that's just from 2 working sets per exercise. Now we do 8 exercises per session, so it's still a decent amount of volume. So it's in an 8 to 12 rep range, with the sort of premise being if you can't get 8, it's too heavy. If you hit in 12, it's not heavy enough. And that's how I judge where I set myself up the following week. So this week I did 2 sets of 8 on chest press. I'll be doing the same weight, I won't be going up. Whereas the things where I hit 12 reps, I'll be up in the weight. So you're always looking to improve on last week, and then come week 3, we go to 3 working sets. So not only are you trying to improve upon the weight you've lifted last week and the reps, but you're also adding that extra set. That's the same for week 4. Then week 5, we go up to 4 working sets. Week 6, we go up to 4. We stay on 4 working sets. So the workouts tend to take about an hour for the 2 sets, an hour and a half for the 3, and 2 hours for the 4. Now, when we come to the cruise week, I'm in real need of it. My body is hurting everywhere. I've started to get little niggles. I won't call them injuries, but just tweaks somewhere that won't kind of disappear. And the idea of the cruise week is literally just have a rest. So it's the best alternative to taking a complete week off. I don't really like to take a week off training. I'm sure many of you don't either. But since I've started doing this cruise week, I've noticed a real benefit. I don't count reps. I put the weight to about 50% of my working weight maximum, and I just rep till it hurts, till it burns. Not hurts, burns. And sets I'll do anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on whether I'm enjoying it, whether I feel like I can do more without it becoming counterproductive. So in the first few exercises I might do 5, and then I might go down to 3 if I just feel like I'm goosed. And you come away from that week, you get a great pump, but come Monday this week, when I'd had that cruise week, completely ache-free, pain-free, no niggles or anything. So I'm ready to come in and lift heavy, and I did. I did 10 kilo more than I've ever done in my life on the chest press, and this is when I've now dropped about 1 stone in weight, and I'm obviously eating a lot less than I was a few weeks ago. Although, albeit I'm still on 4,000 calories, I wasn't 5. So that's how the training works. The exercises haven't changed at all as well. It's the exact same workout that I started, and it will be throughout. The only reason I've changed the odd exercise is either if it was bothering sort of a pre-existing injury, I've got dodgy knees, I might take out hack squats and put in a different variant of a leg press. I've changed one of my tricep exercises as well because I felt it was putting more strain on my elbows than actually working the tricep. So that's the only reason we change things. Also incline bench. At my gym, it's a fixed incline about that high, and it's just putting too much on my shoulders, front delts. So I've gone onto the Smith and put on a really, really shallow incline. But that's the reason for changing it. It's not because you're bored or you want to change up or it's going to benefit you any. You stick to the same workout and you just keep getting better and better and better. Okay. So I don't think there's really anything else I was going to cover this week. I've already been talking for about 15 minutes, so I'm sure it's going to make you a little bit bored by now. I can see some improvement in my condition, but at 14 weeks out, I'm still a bit, a little bit worried. But I can understand what Skip's doing. He's trying to keep my metabolism up there, which it definitely is. It's firing well, and have me come in nice and gradually, rather than sort of boom straight down, crash my metabolism, feel like crap. So I'm happy. I'm going to keep to the plan. I still would like my calories to drop during the week, but I can understand why he's not doing. And he definitely won't do this week, will he, if I've dropped 3.2. So I'll leave it with you. I'll leave it there now. And I'll get back in touch on Monday next week. I'll try and get in nice and early. Let you know how the skip's gone then. And sort of talk a little bit more about that. And I might even give you a list of the foods that I've eaten as well. It's quite a big list. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.